Alright, welcome back everybody. In this video, we're talking tyres and just what exactly we're likely to see at this weekend's Las Vegas Grand Prix. Across the build-up, we've heard all about the logistical problems, the economics behind Formula One's vertical integration on the promotional side, and the racing dynamics of this new street circuit. Overwhelmingly though, the teams this weekend will be focused on the tyres. Before every race weekend, Pirelli make a critical decision on tyre choices. Which ones out of the range of 5 options will they bring to the track? And each season we see pre, mid and post-season tyre tests of new prototypes as Pirelli look to align their technical goals with the goals of the sport. Less overheating from the tyres means better control in close racing, and tyres that warm more easily or perform better at colder temperatures without blankets reduce the energy consumption of Formula One as a whole, and different strategy options in the race creates overtaking on track. Now, tyre chat has become something that, especially within the British Sky Sports crew, has become somewhat of a cue for eye rolls as they satirise the reactions from fans that the pundits get whenever they hear analysts going back to the same old talking points. And to a large extent, that's a fair reaction. The single tyre manufacturer era echoed in the Tyre Management World Championship, and with the addition of the recent cost cap rules, I guess that now leaves us as a Formula One that has become the Tyre Management / Accounting World Championship. But without being overly cynical, the tyre chat this weekend will be critical. It will be the direct first concern of the teams as they all try to crack the code, to solve the puzzle, and with a paddock so densely packed full of talent, watching them solve that puzzle will be pretty cool. It might be a little tough to sit through all the build-up time and the marketing and the promotion, but it'll be worth it. If we start with the basics, the FIA regulations dictate that we have 5 tyre options to choose from, and a set of 3 within those 5 is chosen for each weekend, depending on the surface, temperature and other variables that surround the track. The teams are then allocated a number of sets per compound per car, out of which their run plan for the weekend is divided up. This weekend, Pirelli have gone for the softest tyres in the range, the C3, 4 and 5. Teams will get 2 sets of the white hard tyre, 3 sets of the yellow medium tyre, and 8 sets of the red soft tyre, which we'll see in qualifying. They'll also get the green and the wet intermediate tyres if those are required, but we're not expecting any rain in Vegas. With those tyres then, you have the fundamental variables of speed and degradation. How fast the tyres allow you to go, and for how long can they keep up that speed. The soft tyre is fast but has high degradation, the hard tyre is the opposite, and the medium should be somewhere in between. But Pirelli can often vary just where those curves lay out, and that's what the teams will be looking to crack the code of throughout the weekend. Fundamentally then, the tyres will go through 2 different types of variation that both have similar outcomes. Mechanical degradation as a result of the direct abrasion with the track, and then thermal degradation as that abrasion causes heat to move through the tyre, plus you add in the heat coming off the back of the other cars, the heat emanating from the track surface itself. All of these things are working to degrade the tyres. And then between 1 to 3 pit stops is considered the norm or the average within a race, often with drivers opting for a traditional tyre saving strategy with only 1 stop on the harder compounds, or a softer, more aggressive 2 to 3 stopper, where the added time in the pits is offset by faster lap times on those newer, softer tyres. Cracking the code between those possible options is what F1's very well paid and talented strategists are there to do. And controlling all of those variables is what then makes F1 into this Tyre Management World Championship. It's what enables Red Bull to streak off into the distance every weekend as they so often do. They have so little degradation on their car that even when they're saving tyres, they can be a long way in front of the grid, and then as soon as they're challenged, they can deploy that saved tyre degradation that they haven't had, that everyone else on the grid has had, and that is like a weapon, something they've always got up their sleeve whenever the times get tested. And that's also something that Mercedes used to their advantage in Lewis Hamilton's championship years. Combining that with the supremacy of their engine enabled them to have this vastly superior technical package across different track surfaces, because the tyre gains were the same no matter what track they went to. And only a few rounds ago, we were facing very different tyre problems in Qatar. The curbs there were over-oscillating the tyres, and if you'll forgive a little bit of oversimplification, this meant that Pirelli were forced to implement mandatory minimum or maximum stint lengths. And weirdly enough, since we're talking temperatures this weekend, what you cannot deny is that between Qatar and the cold desert of Nevada, F1 has put its cars and drivers through a heck of a test in 2023, even if this year's world champion seems as relaxed as ever. And with regards to Las Vegas specifically, the low temperatures matched with the new track surface is something that Mario Isola, the motorsport director for Pirelli, has admitted will create an interesting challenge for the teams. Mario described it like this: "It's a step into the unknown for everybody, I believe. Las Vegas will be cold, it's a street circuit, and we decided to use the softest tyres in the range to try and generate grip. I can imagine a lot of track evolution and very low grip, but it's a big unknown, a fast track, long straights, high speed, all conditions that are very difficult to manage, and he went on to explain that the long straights also make it harder to warm up the tyres in qualifying as well as keep them in the right window. It's the same challenge that we've seen in Baku, and it will probably be more pronounced in Las Vegas. Now, as a short but I think worthwhile footnote, I wanted to talk about the coldest race in Formula 1 history. It's something that's been brought up quite a lot in the build-up. It's far from the modern era, but as a historical asterisk or a great bit of pub quiz trivia, here's what went down at the 1978 Canadian Grand Prix, where temperatures dropped as low as 5 degrees C, and the podium trio were wrapped up in their winter jackets as snow and sleet rolled in. And 1978, funnily enough, was the year that Mario Andretti won his Formula 1 title, and him and his son Michael will be doing the absolute most this weekend to take advantage of the promotional opportunity that a Las Vegas Grand Prix brings to them as two guys trying to start a new Formula 1 team, right, to join as that 11th team. Anyway, the actual Grand Prix back in Canada, it was won by Gilles Villeneuve, and it was his first ever Formula 1 win, marking the first F1 triumph for one of the sport's great legends. And of course too, back in 1978, the Canadian Grand Prix was making its debut at a new circuit, simply called the Circuit Ile Notre Dame in Montreal. But as you might be thinking now, I wonder if that circuit's still in Formula 1. It is still in Formula 1, and it's now called the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, largely because of this triumphant home victory that Gilles put in that day. So that's the race that everyone's talking about when we compare Las Vegas to the coldest race in history. It was a truly iconic moment in Formula 1 history. Gilles took the lead on lap 50 after Jean-Pierre Jarier led from pole before mechanically retiring in the final third of the race. Villeneuve passed Jody Scheckter, who finished the line second. Carlos Reutemann rounded out the podium, and you had legendary names like Hunt, Fittipaldi, Andretti, Jones, Daly, Rahal, Arnoux, Piquet and Patrese filling out the timing sheets. It was really a great era for Formula 1, and a whole host of very cold but very talented drivers filled the grid that day. But skipping back forward to Vegas for the final time, in terms of analysis for the actual track and the implications of all this tyre chat, I wanted to defer to the more knowledgeable as to not steal punditry valor and pretend that I've got all the answers that these teams are still trying to figure out. Fernando Alonso, who dramatically held on to P3 in Sao Paulo last time out, he explained the circuit dynamics in his press conference thus. A street circuit, very low downforce, just getting that confidence in the car, the braking areas. I think with the condition on track and not having any support races, the amount of track evolution throughout the weekend will be bigger than normal. Every lap of the track will be a little bit better than the lap before, from P1 to the last lap of the race, so we'll have to adapt to that changeable grip. It's going to be a challenge for everyone. And Alonso went on to further explain that tyre warm-up will be a really critical issue. He said that I think we have to run first to see how the car behaves and the tyre behaves. I think it could be that with this long straight, the tyres, they lose a bit of temperature. So we've been facing a little bit of tyre overheating on these last events, and maybe here it's a little bit the opposite. I think tomorrow we'll finally have some answers. That was Fernando's verdict, and I'd be very silly to go off anything that he said. But these teams and drivers are the best on the planet, and what we're seeing this weekend is those talented teams given a new challenge in front of a new audience in one of the craziest and most hyperbolically hedonistic places on Earth. Safety cars, outlaps, overcuts and restarts will be particular moments of tension and drama, so keep an eye out for those during the Grand Prix. I'd love to hear your predictions in the comments, and thank you very much for all the nice feedback and support. Check back in with us after the Grand Prix in Las Vegas for all the talking points, and check out crash.net for coverage across the motorsport world. As always, thank you very much for watching.